Do you ever wonder if your class is making an impact on your students? Are you looking for a way to motivate students to love learning? Have you ever thought about taking the learning outside of the class to bring the subject alive? A field trip is an excellent way to do this. Field trips are a valuable instructional tool, but you have to do some research and planning to make it a success. First of all, think of a site that will help your students live the experience of your course. If it is a health course, students might visit a hospital or an extended care home. If you're in history, check out museums and historical sites. What if you're teaching a global ethics or business course? You could visit a local free trade coffee business and get a tour. Get creative. Here are some tips on how to get started. First of all, check your institution's policy and get all forms and waivers signed before you go. Contact the site beforehand and see if your group can get a private tour. Book your date and group size at this time. It might be a good idea to visit the site personally and rule out any problems. Think about how everyone is going to get there. Are students going to carpool? Will you get a private bus? Or are they going to arrange it themselves? You might designate group leaders who are willing to drive. Next, design an activity so students can think back to what they have learned on the field trip and connect it to what they are learning in class. If you're teaching an online course, you might allow students to visit the site on their own time and provide the assignment online. Make sure you provide an alternate learning experience for those who cannot participate on the field trip. The educator has many roles to fulfill in taking students on a field trip. The educator needs to create assignments that push learning, as well as making sure everyone is safe, visiting the site and confirming the times, and talking about what you want from everyone before you go. Make sure your expectations are clear. So what if things don't go as planned? Get creative and stay positive. Give out some preparation material so students can analyze their learning and experiences. Make it a trip that students will remember. Use principles of community engagement and service learning. Remember, it's not a day off. Students have responsibilities to listen to all pre-trip lectures and research the site beforehand. They have to be respectful at the site and engage with the field trip activities to maximize their learning. Most importantly, they should have fun and get to know their peers. Afterwards, they can reflect on the experience and complete any assignments. So are you convinced yet? Here are some more pros to hosting a field trip. It gives the course experience that just can't be duplicated in class. Also, it's found that 96% of students remember at least one thing they learned on a field trip, even years down the road. Students will have memorable experiences to connect their learning. Field trips also give context to subject material. It breaks up the routine and students bond and form a learning community. Even with all the pros, there are some cons to consider when planning a field trip. The cost can exclude some students. The travel and time needed for the trip may not work with some students' schedules. There could be risk and liability concerns. Some criticize that it's just fun and not educational. There can be a lack of buy-in about the value of field trips. There is a lot to think about and plan when creating a field trip that is relevant, accessible, fun, and educational. Remember, planning is crucial. Do your research and make it memorable.